welcome to virtual story time, not quite live. We clap and sing hello, we clap and sing hello. With our friends of story time, we clap and sing hello. We stomp and sing hello, we stomp and sing hello. With our friends of story time, we stomp and sing hello. We wave and sing hello, hello. We wave and sing hello, hello. With our friends at story time, we wave and sing hello, hello. Welcome to virtual story time, not quite live. And as a lot of you know, this is the last one that we'll be doing for quite some time because in-house programming is back in session. Guess what, guys? Starting next Saturday, the 11th of September, we are resuming Saturday story time. So come excited to read stories and sing songs with us because we're excited to have you back in the building. So without further ado, this week's craft coming up is going to be a fun notebook. And, oh, sorry, this notebook does have pages, so you can write in them. And you have some stickers to decorate your notebook. So you can put a sticker here, here, anywhere you want inside this notebook. It's yours. So we look forward to you guys stopping by and picking up your wonderful notebook because it's back to school time. All right, so now that we got all of that out of the way, let's see what stories we're going to read today. First up, I've got Curious George's First Day of School. My goodness, Curious George is one of my favorites. I don't know about you, but I love me some Curious George. And then we've got Supersaurus Saves Kindergarten, which is written by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Ned Young. If You Take Them Out to School by Laura Numeroff, illustrated by Felicia Bond. And finally, The Night Before First Grade by Natasha Wing, illustrated by Deborah Zemke. Well, I will not keep you guys long. In fact, we're just going to be reading today, no songs, so that we can get through the story and you can have a wonderful Saturday during your long weekend. Margret and H.A. Ray's Curious George's First Day of School. Let's see what adventures Curious George gets into today. This is George. Hey, look at him. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was so excited he could barely eat his breakfast. You have a big day ahead of you, George, said his friend, the man with the yellow hat. See that on the back of his chair? He's got a yellow hat. It was a big day for George. It was the first day of school, and he had been invited to be a special helper. Now, those in Randolph know about first days of school. You guys just had one, right? And then there are some people who are going to be having theirs next week. I believe it's pre-K and kindergarten, if I'm not mistaken. So you guys get to have a fun adventure like George is going to have. He had been invited to be a special helper. George and his friend walked together to the schoolyard. Some of the children were nervous, but George could not wait for the fun to begin. Yeah, that's the way you got to approach the first day of school. In the classroom, George's friend introduced him to Mr. Apple. Thank you for inviting George to school today, the man with the yellow hat said to the teacher. Then he waved goodbye. Have a good day, George. I'll be back to pick you up after school. Ooh. What adventures will George have today? The children were very excited to have a monkey in class. George is going to be our special helper, Mr. Apple told them. Yay! And what a helper he was. At story time, George held the book. At math time, the children could count on George. What a helper he is. And at recess, George made sure everyone had a ball. And a well-balanced snack. After lunch, Mr. Apple got out paints and brushes. George saw red, yellow, and blue paint. 3 colors were not very many. George was curious. Could he help make more colors? Well, first, George mixed red and blue to make... Great! Purple! all. Next, George mixed red and yellow to make, that's right, guys, orange. You guys are great at this. Then George mixed yellow and blue to make, yes, green. You guys are great at this. Finally, George mixed all the colors to make, what would mixing all the colors make? A big mess. Well, I guess that is true. The children thought the mess was funny, but Mr. Apple did not. Oh dear, he said, we are going to need something to clean this up. Everyone, please sit quietly while I look. Hmm, I feel like George should have kept them entertained. George did not mean to make such a mess and certainly did not want to sit quietly. He wanted to help. After all, it was his job. George had an idea. In the hallway, George found a closet. In the closet, he found a bucket. In the bucket, he found just what he needed. What did George need to help clean up this mess? A mop! Yay! George was on his way back to the classroom when he heard somebody yell, "Stop! Stop! What are you doing with my mop?" The janitor ran after George. "Stop! Stop! No running in the halls!" The principal ran after the janitor, but George was too fast to stop. He grabbed the doorway and swung inside and... Oh goodness, what happened? Splash! The bucket tipped, the mop dropped, and George slid across the floor. Now the mess was even bigger. Mr. Apple looked surprised. The principal frowned. The janitor just shook his head. And George, poor George, he felt terrible. Maybe he was not such a good helper after all. The children felt terrible too. They did not like to see George looking so sad. They thought he was a great helper. Now they wanted to help him. So the children all lent a hand, and some feet. And before anyone knew it, the mess was gone. That little monkey sure was helpful, the janitor said. It looks like Mr. Apple has a whole class full of helpers, the principal added. At the end of the day, when George's friend arrived to pick him up, Mr. Apple said, "Thank you for all your help, George. We hope that you come help us again." The children cheered. Hurrah! They hoped George would come again, too. Yay, go George. Great helper. George waved goodbye to his friends. What a great day it had been. He could not wait to come back to school. Well, I don't know if your first days were as eventful as Curious George's first day was, but that was definitely a lot of fun. So, let's go on to our second book. We've got Supersaurus Saves Kindergarten. Dun, 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 right? Look at his cape. This book is written by Deborah Underwood, illustrated by Ned Young, and published by Disney Hyperion. Kindergarten was starting in 2 days. Count that, 2. Arnold was busy making plans. Ooh, what plans is Arnold making? To escape. Oh, look at his very fancy drawing. He's got an escape rocket that he just drew right there, and him. And he's escaping kindergarten. Ha! What if the teacher is Zorgo, the evil genius? The teacher is Mr. Zachary, said Emily. What if he feeds kids to a pet T-Rex croc? Asked Arnold. They wouldn't let a teacher have a T-Rex, said Emily. They wouldn't even let us bring pointy scissors, let alone a T-Rex. I don't think so. No kindergarten in the universe can hold me, said Arnold. Do you know why? I have a guess, said Emily. Because, she said Arnold, I am Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Supersaurus packed and plotted and packed some more. Well, Supersaurus, which is Arnold's alter ego, or another way to say that is it's his other name, his other persona. The big day arrived. All ready? Mom asked. Oh, yes, said Arnold. Supersaurus was taken prisoner inside the submarine. When the hatch opened, he whooshed away in his Supersaurus scuba suit, but he was quickly recaptured. They approached Zorgo's lair. Time for plan B, Supersaurus said. He put on his sticky shoes. They'll never find me. Oh, no, they won't. On top of this skyscraper. Ooh, he's climbing a skyscraper with his sticky shoes. But Zorgo's spies were everywhere. Arnold, please, said Dad. We don't want you to be late on your first day. A frightening figure loomed in the doorway. Zorgo! Dun, dun, dun. Hi there, I'm Mr. Z, said Zorgo. I am Supersaurus. Well, okay, Supersaurus. Let's find your cubby, said Zorgo. Emily whispered. No T-Rex. Just wait, said Supersaurus. Good morning, everyone, said Zorgo. Please come to the carpet. It's song time. That sounds kind of fun. Actually, I believe it's escape time, muttered Supersaurus. He hopped into his Supersaurus rescue rocket and zoomed off into a field of stars. But then he heard howling. His ship screeched to a halt. He couldn't leave all those innocent children in Zorgo's clutches. There was only one thing to do. Supersaurus narrowed his eyes. He straightened up his mask. He marched up to Zorgo. I challenge you to a duel. How do you think Zorgo's going to take that one, guys? We're singing right now, said Zorgo. How about after snack time? Supersaurus decided that a superhero shouldn't duel on an empty stomach. That's like rule number 1. All right, he said. I'll wait. During our time, Supersaurus painted signs for his hero hideout. Need a hero? Call Supersaurus! Yay! Nice job, said Zorgo. During free time, Supersaurus and Emily made a villain trap out of constructo straws. I'm going to catch the mighty Zorgo. Very creative, said Zorgo. During circle time, Supersaurus told how he conquered the vacuum viper. Wow, you are a superhero, said Bosworth. Finally, it was snack time, but just as Zorgo began to hand out raisins, what do you guys think happened? Croc! I knew Zorgo couldn't be trusted, said Supersaurus. We don't eat snack. We are snack. What? It's a pet Tyrannosaurus Rex. What? Don't worry, kid, said Zorgo. We'll help get him out. Help get him out, Supersaurus stared. Isn't he going to eat us? I think you'd rather have some raisins, don't you? Said Zorgo. Come here, little guy. Wait, I have a plan! Working together, Supersaurus and Zorgo soon ensnared the beast. So Supersaurus had his trap, and Zorgo had his raisins. Nice work, Supersaurus, said Emily. Can I be your sidekick? Asked Bosworth. When school was over, Mr. Z said goodbye. I'm sure glad you were here today, Supersaurus. Clearly, kindergarten needs me, said Supersaurus. I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, You can call me Arnold. And that's it. That's Supersaurus Saves Kindergarten. That was great. Supersaurus did a really great job. Are you guys good helpers in your classrooms? I hope so, because your teachers definitely need your help. If you take a mouse to school, now I don't know about you guys, but I've read if you give a mouse a cookie, and I see some cookies in this lunchbox, so I kind of feel like they're going to factor in to this story as well. Let's find out. If You Take a Mouse to School by Laura Numeroff, illustrated by Felicia Bond. If you take a mouse to school, what do you guys think would happen if you took a mouse to school? I feel like I know what would happen, right? If you took a mouse to school, everyone would be like, ah, mouse! If you take a mouse to school, he'll take your lunchbox. When you give him your lunchbox, he'll want a sandwich and a snack for later. Then he'll need a notebook. Kind of like this notebook you guys are going to do. He'll need a notebook and he'll need some pencils, right? And he'll probably want to share your backpack too. Man, this mouse is really needy. Can't bring his own notebook and pencils and backpack. He has to have yours. When you get to school, he'll put his things in your locker and take a look around. Oh my goodness. Like, he can't get his own locker? They don't have mouse lockers at school? I'm just messing. He's a good mouse. He might do a little math and spell a word or two. He might even try a science experiment. Ooh, this is a very adventurous mouse. Then he'll need to wash up. You'll have to take him to the bathroom. And once he's nice and clean, he'll be ready for his lunch. I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew his lunch was coming. On the way to the lunchroom, he'll see some building blocks. He'll build a little mouse house. Looks kind of big though. And make some furniture out of clay. Then he'll need some books for his bookshelf. He'll start writing, or he'll start by writing one of his own, so he'll need a lot of paper. He'll probably use up all your pencils. That was a good mouse. When he's finished, he'll want to read his book to you. Let's see what the title of his book is here. Good Night, Mouse. Ooh. Riveting read. Then he'll want to take it home, so he'll put it in your lunchbox and tuck it in a safe place. When the bell rings, he'll run out to wait for the bus. While he's waiting, he'll play a quick game of soccer. Then he'll ask you to shoot a few baskets. And do a little skateboarding. Wow, this mouse is everywhere, huh? Just having a ball. When he stops to catch his breath, he'll want to eat his snack. So he'll ask you for your lunchbox. Uh-oh. And chances are, uh-oh. If he asks you for your lunchbox, you'll have to take him back to school. And look at that. He's got his cookies, his snack. So, I guess that's what happens. This is what happens if you give a mouse a cookie and, you know, now you have to have all these adventures. You got to take him to school and all this stuff will happen. Well, that was really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And now I have one more book for you, and then I gotta let you go. I know you were sad, but it's okay because we have story times in person now, so you don't have to miss me online. You can just come see me in person. So here we go. The Night Before First Grade. Ooh, by Natasha Wing, illustrated by Deborah Zemke. 'Twas the night before first grade. I kissed my dog Clover. School starting tomorrow because summer is over. Into my backpack went markers and pens. I hung my new outfit. It matched my friend Jen's. I spoke not a word, but went straight to the shelf and filled up my lunchbox. Filled up my lunchbox. Filled up my lunchbox. I made lunch myself. I was trying to be so clever and it did not work out. I can't wait to see Jenny, I told my big brother. I hope that our desks are right next to each other. Friends forever. That night I was nestled all snug in my bed while visions of jungle gyms danced in my head. The next day at breakfast, Dad made such a fuss. What a big girl you are to be taking the bus. Hurry, Penny, said Mom as it turned down our street. Over here, shouted Jenny. I saved you a seat. At school, kindergartners stood outside in the hall. They all looked so young. Were we ever that small? While they clung to their parents, we hugged Miss Sunrise. You two grew so tall, she said with surprise. Ding! Rang the school bell. We made such a clatter as we raced to our classroom. Then Jen said, What's the matter? The principal told us that some changes were made. We have some new students, so we split the first grade. Hi, Penny, said my teacher. You're in here with me. But yikes, Jenny wasn't. She was in room 33. No. Bye, Jenny. We waved goodbye sadly and said, See you later. I had to be brave because I'm a first grader. Soon we sat in a circle and we each said our name. Then we played 20 questions and I won the game. Yay. It's looking up. Mr. Barr is so funny. He tells jokes and he juggles. And our class pet is so cute. It's a bunny named Snuggles. I knew most of the kids except for a few. So I went and said hi to a girl who was new. Hello, my name is. We sat side by side and made pictures with noodles. We laughed when we saw we both made noodle poodles. Noodle poodles is funny. We both have pet turtles and love turquoise blue, and pistachio ice cream is her favorite too. I can't wait till you meet my best friend at lunch. I just know you'll both like each other a bunch. The lunchroom was buzzing, so busy and loud. We sat down at a table. Was Jen in this crowd? No. When, what to my wondering eyes, there in line was Jen with a new friend who looked just like mine. I'm Tina, I'm Nina. Their eyes, how they twinkled behind matching frames. They had curly pigtails and they had rhyming names. Oh my goodness, they're twins, they're twins. Our new friends were twins, and though school's just begun, I know first grade will be twice as much fun. Yay! And that was The Night Before First Grade by Natasha Wing, illustrated by Deborah Zemke. Well, thank you so much for joining me for story time. And without further ado, let's go through each of the books that we read today. We read Curious George's First Day of School by Margret and H.A. Ray. Supersaurus Saves Kindergarten, written by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Ned Young. If You Take a Mouse to School by Laura Numeroff, illustrated by Felicia. And finally, The Night Before First Grade by Natasha Wing, illustrated by Deborah Zemke. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me for story time, and I hope to see all of you in person at our in-person story times next week. Okay, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, we're here. We are so excited to see you, and you guys have an amazing day. We wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye like this with our friends.